to sort of shape a life that is free from that kind of abuse. And they've gotten refunded more than 50 in South Africa, and now we're helping to help South Africa to project them into the rest of the SADC countries. So Botswana. So it's a South African model that the United States is helping other countries to form, which I think is a fantastic sort of partnership with South Africa to extend South Africa's reach into the rest of the region. And then sort of something I'm particularly interested to talk to you about is a flagship new program that President Obama announced when he was in South Africa called the Young African Leaders Initiative. We're going to bring 500 young African leaders, people active in both entrepreneurialism, in government, and in all kinds of leadership roles to the United States. I think 50 of them will come from South Africa. It'll be a 6-week program in American universities on leadership and various of the specialized things I talked about. Then they'll meet President Obama, and then go on. Not all of them, because a lot of people can't take 10 or 15 weeks off of their jobs, but then some of them will go on to internships in the United States and back in Africa. So we've talked to the Minister of Public Administration here, for example, about internships in the South African government. And a lot of big Fortune 500 companies that you've been associated with have said, "Oh, that sounds fantastic. These are going to be a fantastic sort of cohort of young people. We'll take 50 in our offices all throughout Africa." So Pam has some pamphlets about the Young African Leaders Program, and I encourage all of you to look into it. The application for it it's supposed to go live December 5th. It may be a couple of days after that. It won't be open for a very long time. So I encourage you to please spread the word about that. And I hope that will be a cohort of people also that interact with each other powerfully, and then with sort of the next generation of people who come with it. But President Obama, when he was in South Africa, made a sort of call to action, I think, for Africans. He said, that the potential of this continent is amazing. Because of its people, because of the sort of economic growth that is possible here. And it's up to Africans and African leaders, like many of you, to sort of make that happen. And any commitment that you make to make that happen, the United States will stand with you. So I think this is a nice opportunity to sort of engender that in a young cohort of leaders between 25 and 35. So please spread that word. And then sort of more importantly than any of these programs for which we pay is the mentoring that all of you do. And I was struck when Dudu talked about networking, that it's more effective when it comes from the heart, and that you see what's in it for yourself. That certainly applies to mentoring as well. The most sincere mentoring relationships are the ones where somebody else picks you because you stand for something that they believe in, or you do something that they admire. And in the other direction, that you recognize some of that spark in someone else and can share your wisdom and experience with them. So I'm so honored to meet all of you, and I hope you will keep on mentoring, and I hope you will spread the word about these programs, and I hope that the United States can continue to take advantage of your wisdom and to help you where we can. Thank you very much.
From the table discussion. Ladies, thank you for your attention, please. Which group is going to feedback first? And first tell us what it is that you dialogue against. On, brother, and then, yeah.
Well, I'll just share one point that I suspect is common for many. But we were very clear about us being clear about stating what we wanted. But it didn't end there. It was saying, can we be clear about what we want, and can we not undervalue what we want because we undervalue ourselves? So can what we want be commensurate with our true full value?
Fantastic. I like the sound of that.
Who's next?
Thank you. So, just to summarize our discussion, a lot of points came up, started with factors like can people be open about what they know and who they know? Because sometimes you don't know that you have access to the person next to you's network plus you don't know where they've been and the experience they have and how they can contribute in your life. And also, just to say that, which is a slight of an observation in character, is that most women who are successful want to keep their success to themselves. So there's always that fear that, you know what, I don't want to open the door and to share my ladder because I want to be the only person who has access to this success, which is something we just need to be mindful of. And then also, the absence of a thank you and appreciation can demotivate one from helping further. But with that comes the whole factor about just being true to who you are and not letting people's inability to be grateful and to appreciate your value change the essence and your core. And then lastly was something around just the whole thing about when you have been successful and just sharing that success and the value that it delivers. So openly connecting people and not being afraid and feeling used in inverted commas. Okay, thank you very much.
Each other. That's fundamental. And we don't really believe a lot of times as women is that, we want to leverage on our network, but I think that it's more, it's much more engaging when you're networking with someone you already know. So the responsibility will be to know each other within the group. That it's also important for women to be able to take the sort of sense of community support that we give ourselves when we have funerals, when we have father's birthdays, when one child is graduating, or once a child is going into a new school. Women generally will call and say, so how has your son settling into school? Can we take that also from that same energy and strength? Can we transfer that also in helping ourselves to grow up the ladder in terms of gaining financial independence? So if we can foster around each other for our father's funeral, can we all foster around each other to make me the first female billionaire?
Thank you.
That's somebody clear about what they want.
So I think what our takeaway from our group is that we need to know each other and start new friendships from India, from South Africa, from Nigeria.
We have 2 more tables.
I think the first contribution was about communication, that we need to understand what skills we have got and share the skills and sell the skills to others so that we can then increase the network. The second one was about asking for support, that across the globe or even internally you ask for support, even if it's moral support, whatever type of support, you take the initiative to ask for support. The third one is around taking risks, that we're saying that at some point you need to take risks so that you can leverage on financial viability initiatives, etc., etc. And to also support each other. There are people who have big ideas. They don't have financial support. They don't know where the pot of money is sitting. But you might find just next to your nose that there is somebody who knows where the money is. So that connectivity becomes important in terms of supporting each other. We also talked about recognizing that we must go out and seek information. Sometimes it doesn't just come through. You have to take the initiative to go and get the information about whatever it is you want. If you want to run a business or something in Nigeria, you need to then connect and find out what it is that you can do there, etc. Some feasibility studies are important. The last one really is around doing things for others. I think Desiree talks about emotional stuff. Some people are just feeling paralyzed. They've knocked at so many doors. At some point when you pick up that one of us or many of us can't do it, we have to take the advocacy role and do it for them. And push them in, because even when you've opened the door, they're still scared of going in. Until they get to a point where they can really stand up on their feet and be able to do it. And here we're saying, we see, for example, in South Africa, there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of funding that is available for women. It's still not happening. Where is the gap? So there might be some emotional baggage, might be something we have learned. We come from poor backgrounds, we glorify poverty still. So there is some unlocking of something. There's something that is still not right in our heads, you know. So maybe we do need, I think she's got a good point about the emotional stuff. I think one of the groups has mentioned something there about us doing an introspection. What is it that is holding us back?
Yeah. Sorry, are you done?
The last part is just development and sharing platforms. I think one of the members is saying that there are a lot of people who are doing very good work, but to what extent do they do those things? So we need to develop sharing platforms where people can tell us that they've done things. There are people who stand up and say, we are doing this, as to whether those things are being done. And I guess it's an accountability issue also. Thank you.
One of you can connect your bullet husband 60 and then he dies next year
Okay. You see, there's somebody who's looking at me with such enthusiasm. I have to look at her and ask her for her wish. What is your wish and why?
Where is that? Where is that thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is
that thing?
Ruby mic? Can I ask somebody to help me go around? Yeah.
The enthusiasm.
Stand up, yeah? Okay. You know, as you were speaking, I went back to my father was recently 80s, and at the party.
Can we please just give her attention? And can my challenge is this, start with I wish.
I wish. Okay.
Your wish, and then you can give us a bit of why.
I wish, I wish I could do things differently than my father. My father just turned 80, and at the party, everyone that mattered in Nigeria was there. And I realized that growing up, he would do things for everybody else, use his network, leverage his network. And I seem to be in that space. I know everybody who's hired there. I can walk into a former president's house without an appointment, but I've never been able to leverage that for myself. You know, how do I, you know,
I don't think people can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just start over.
Yeah.
Okay, I wish I could do things differently than my dad. My dad just turned 80, and at the party, there was everyone that you count is very important, from a president of head, from a president of this, the governor of the state, and I sat in the church service and it occurred to me that I'm just going through the same, you know, experience that he had. You know, I saw people come to our house growing up who had problems, you would connect them, the problems were solved, they would forget about it, they would be, you know, important lives. And then I realized I'm in that space as well. There were so many people that have access, but I've just never really been able to leverage that access for myself. So people actually say to me, you know this person, and I was like, I'm at this party, why are you in this space? You should be able to do better. So I'm not sure if it's the fact that I haven't been selfish enough, or I just haven't, or there's a barrier in my environment as well. I feel that hobnobbing with those people says that I might be compromising, because sometimes there's a bit of corruption, twisting the system, rent-seeking, and things like that. So I've tried to keep my distance and say, you know what, let them continue to do what they do. You know, sometimes, at some point I will get into governance, I will try to fix big institutions as well. So they carry up with their lives, and one day I'm preparing to be able to get into office at some point, and I might be able to do things differently. But then again, if I know a former president and I want to get into office, why am I not leveraging what he knows, who he knows, to further that cause? So that's the place where I am.
Thank you very much. I want to pick up on something that you said, and I think it's common for every single woman here. I bet you if I was to go through your networks, I would be amazed. I don't think there's any door that I would be able to open if I were to go through your networks. Would you agree?
Yeah.
How many people have gotten value from your networks more than you? How many people have you made rich? Exactly. So the question is then, how do we use our networks to benefit us? And I know one of the things that we hate doing as women is asking. We hate to ask. What's changed for me is that there are men behind me who are saying never to ask, and that's making me ask. But what can make you ask for you? Okay, I wish.
I wish we could stop being apologetic. As women, we're so apologetic about what we want, or we don't say it straight up. And that's one of the things that I've learned from male mentors. You know, when you go to a guy, they say straight up, what do you want? And if you need to be connected to, or if it's a minister and you say I need assistance in A, B, C, and D. However, as women, we go around the circle. We don't say it exactly. And also when you're asking a woman for something, we are very difficult. We know, don't compromise me. Don't put me in this position. And what's the point of us knowing each other? Why do we know one another? If I'm not asking you to sign off a deal, but if I say to you, I'm struggling with this legal matter, are you able to speak to the minister or to speak to the director? We refuse to do that for each other. And I just wish for us, we could stop to being apologetic and to be clear. This is where I am, this is what I'm struggling with. Do you know so-and-so? Can you make the phone call for me? Because we don't do that. We don't.
Okay. And the next, that will be another thing that I'm going to ask us to build on is how can we open doors for each other? What stands in the way and how can we do it? Yeah.
Well, you've tackled my one wish. I have two wishes.
Okay.
My other wish is that I wish that women, when they're presented with an opportunity, we, at high-level leadership, a lot of the times we doubt ourselves and we find a reason as to why we can't do it. And yet you find a man who probably has half the qualification, he'll get in there and he'll say, I can do it. And we could have done a better job. So yeah, I wish that we could get past that barrier.
And again, just to build on that, I think that's a very powerful one. There's a lot of things that have been said, one about putting yourself first and so on. It feels to me it doesn't matter at what level we are. We still have self-esteem issues to deal with. I'm not saying it from a bad place. I'm saying it from just an acknowledgement that very often we hold ourselves back and then we get very angry. You see that person who knows half of what you know and now he's on top. You're thinking, but how did this one get there? The world belongs to those who believe in themselves, not the most talented.
Oh, just when I could sit.
You can multitask. You can speak and walk.
My wish is that as women, we be more generous. I understand we're supposed to be selfish, but I think a lesson that I learned from Raymond Ackerman, sometimes self-enlightenment is being selfish, because when you are generous, you're creating more guardian angels for yourself. You're creating a net that looks after you. And people miss that. We focus on our families, on our immediate environment, and it's not the way to do it. We have 24 hours in the day, but believe me, you can get a lot done if you're in the right place. So I really wish for women, I think we are giving, but I don't think we are. We're not giving as we could. I mean, a lot of people are like, how do you do certain things? I get the joy from your joy, and in turn, you make me who I am. So it comes back, and it will come back. If ever I have kids, they're gonna be well placed. If we find the hubby first. I don't know. My mom says, he's at home, you're at home, you're never gonna meet. So that is my wish. The thing is, as women, most of the time, we make sure we are competent because we have a low self-esteem. So we usually do not have like half-baked qualities in terms of achieving. So have the confidence to be generous. When somebody says, can you connect me to, the thing is with us with corruption, unless you don't deserve what you get, under scrutiny, you must be able to be able to keep that tender, that business idea, because you deserved it. The fact that somebody else connected you does not undermine the fact that you are best qualified for it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go there and then I'm going to come here. But you know, I just wanted to make a distinction. I hear what you're saying about being generous, and I think definitely there's a role we can play there. I just wonder if perhaps part of our lack of generosity sometimes is because we have a scarcity mentality. What if I open doors for this person? You know, what does that limit my opportunities? Or I'm struggling, and therefore, why should I see somebody and help somebody? I'm talking about the uncomfortable things that we need to talk about, because if you can unblock those and understand that somebody else's opportunity doesn't mean your opportunities are still coming. You're two very different people. But there's that generosity, but there's also a difference between looking after self. You cannot give from a place of being depleted. You have to look after yourself as you give. It's not either or. Those two things go together. Can I go to the table at the, yes, thank you.
I wanted to state my wish, and then Dudu stood up and said, be generous. And I thought that's one of my biggest weaknesses, just being overly generous. But my wish, and it's very personal, is to find a way to value my work. I will do anything else, but when it comes to pricing and determining what Desiree is worth, you.
Yeah.
That's my wish.
Please, can we give Desiree an aha? Because most of us are still struggling. Somebody says, how much are you worth? You're like,
I also wish something similar. I wish that we can, I start with myself, be more honest with ourselves. Give ourselves a chance to face our challenges, our insecurities, what scares us, what makes us feel incomplete, or not incomplete, don't have to be perfect, but incompetent, and like you were just saying, just to add to, because I like your point more than my wish now. I was just telling my friend Cynthia, right next to me, about last week I got accepted. I pitched for, well, actually the PR company called me to give them a social media consultancy workshop for 3 days, and I sold myself so well, and they just called me and they said, okay, just send us an offer and we'll negotiate. So I wanted to send like a very low price. And my husband told me, what are you talking about? You have to multiply that by 5. I can't do it. And I wrote the email, and I was looking for him. Where is he? I'm going to like delete what he wrote. And I said, listen, just give me. And he said, send that email. Show it to me. He didn't trust me because he was like, just send it. And so I found the courage in me to send a high price. And I was like so nervous that she's going to like reject it. And she said, do you mind giving me a special offer? She accepted, nearly, what? And then I realized that we don't give ourselves justice. And it's something deep inside of me that doesn't value myself enough to demand what I believe I should. It's like an imaginary world. So I just want to echo your wish.
Thank you. There was a hand over there yesterday.
My goodness, I love what everybody's saying because it's exactly what I wish. But just going back to a point about how we wonder if you open a door for somebody else, will that not take away from you? Actually, I have learned, and it's to a large degree thanks to my association with Ututu. She's taught me how paying it forward to somebody else actually makes God or the universe open up something else for you. And I now take such great pleasure in finding opportunities for other people. And it's happening every day where even if it's something that is in the same line as what I do, to be able to say, actually, I really do think Busi would be better suited for this. Busi, here's something that you can do. And because of that, somehow I get taken care of. So I want to say paying it forward and being generous does pay.
Okay, thank you. There are 2 more. There's Aliyah and, oh yeah, there are 3 more. And I'm going to close this particular one on those 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll make it 4. I'll be generous.
Well, we've all talked about how we're underestimated, we're not appreciated much, and we want to give ourselves more, we want to be, me as Alia, what makes me happy in this world where I come from a country where there's war, there's people dying, I wish we can all be humans, first. Second, what makes me happy, really happy, is giving. So I wish I can make more to my country, to women, to the universe. So that's what I wish for. I want a big difference.
Okay.
I want to make a difference, and I don't know how. Maybe we can come out with that together.
Okay. We'll go together. Then I go here first and then we'll come back.
What I wish is that you can all could have the opportunity we had to have a mentor. So if you haven't had one, just try to get one. Of course, we had different experiences. Mine, I think it was great, and they all know about mine. But it's what I wanted to share with you is that my mentor completely understood that it was a very win-win situation in which we had to share time. So as I told you, I was doing e-commerce, and so she said, with me you are going to learn a lot about how to manage companies, because she's investor in some companies, so to manage the board. But I don't know nothing about e-commerce. So why don't you learn about my companies, and then you go and advise them about e-commerce? And I said, who, me? Who? From Argentina. Teaching e-commerce to the US. Of course. And that gave me such confidence. And it changed my whole vision. And now I can price what I do. And now I can go for it. And so my wish is that you give you the opportunity to have mentors, but if you are a mentor, also to think in a win-win situation to give confidence to the other.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
The one
Go.
but you know what, you've got the, may I?
Okay. Yeah.
So my wish from this session, because the question was from this session particularly, is very selfish. And I'm so happy that it's happening now because it's at a profound time, I think, with myself. And my wish, selfishly, after today, after this week actually, because I know phenomenal women are here, is I hope this session and the rest of the week helps me reconnect with myself. And the self that has lots of energy, that is a hopeless optimistic, and that believes everything is possible, and etc. So my wish for, I think, for women at a high level is, as we navigate this world that is very challenging, work, home, etc., that we remain true and genuine to who we are. Because sometimes you get lost in what other people tell you about, or what the world of men tells you need to be, and you try and transform yourself to be who you really aren't. And when you look down the line, you're like, I don't recognize this person. This is not me. And you're wondering why you're not moving any further, because it's opposing who you are. Things are not connecting. And for me personally, I just think the last 2 years have kind of gone down that road where I'm looking and I'm like, sure, you read your CV or you read what somebody says about you and you're like, who's that person? I don't know who that person is anymore. And I'm selfishly hoping that by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, I'm finding that person that I think I lost a while ago.
Thank you.
So you all have a big role to play. Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure. She just put it so beautifully. That's exactly what I wanted to say. And besides the fact that I wish I was a size 32 and I was Afro like Solange, but I honestly wish we could hold on to that childlike mentality that we just lose because we want to jump.
Get stuck in today, and you don't move towards your dreams. So.
on our table, we really talked about a couple of things, but key to that is the myth of a business card. Because we found that the limitations that, there's only so much you can write on your business card, but it does not even begin to tell the story of what it is that you do to try and earn a living, what are the things that you are passionately and interested in, and projects that you are involved in and you would like other people to assist and collaborate on. So it's interrogating that further, and on a practical solution, we're thinking of maybe more than just you passing around the email list, the contact list, is to go further and look at an online platform where there can be some kind of portal where it says, my name is Bilala, this is what I do, these are the other things that I am about, these are the type of businesses that I'm interested in, because somebody sitting in Nigeria from the room may actually be interested to collaborate on A, B, or C. So let's give each other the opportunity to know broadly what we are about. And then the other thing we looked at, embracing our slashiness. I think it talks to that as well, that we are different things, we do different things, and when in the heat of the moment you have to stand up and say what you are about, and when you talk to people and you're networking with people, sometimes you get the stares like, oh really, like how many hats do you actually wear? But embrace that, because there's a reason we are human beings. We have different interests, we have different business capabilities, and let's make all of that work for us. And then maybe lastly is also, when it's all said and done, we entrepreneurs, we want to be able to monetize those collaborations. We want to be able to monetize those opportunities for ourselves and for each other. Sitting on this table, we have started another business in Ghana. We have collaborated on an embroidery business between Palestine and South Africa. So we've pretty much acted like we've been talking about.
No, thank you very much, ladies, for that, and maybe just a summary in terms of the key things that came out. And I think it speaks to the very issue of being card collectors, and you're right. If I have a card and I don't know what you're about, why would I follow up? So I like what you're saying about spending time to find out exactly what this person is about and embracing the different, because it was the same thing when I was asked what I did, I only mentioned half of what I do, not the other, yeah. So absolutely that, but the clarity, something came up, clarity about what is it that you want. No one can help you unless you have clarity. Valuing yourself. I want to share a story of how I'm beginning to get into projects. They haven't paid me yet, but they're big projects. And I had networks that I didn't realize the value of until the men around me said, Mabatu, these networks are powerful. What are you doing about them? So understand what your value is. Understand the value of the relationships around you, because I'm pretty sure that they can work for you. And I'm making sure this time around it works for me. I've made too many people rich. Openly connect people. We need to be connecting each other. We need to be supporting each other to achieve what we need to achieve and overcoming the things that we need to overcome in order to do that. So I am going to close this session in saying that there seems to be a lot of goodwill to utilize these networks to help us achieve financial well-being and emotional well-being, and yes, you can. So the question I have for you, a commitment that I perhaps would like you to send to Dudu, is one, a commitment to self in terms of what are you going to do for yourself and the group. Send it all to Dudu. Collect that, yeah. Send it all to Dudu. What can you do for somebody else? And what would you like to happen for you from others? So that we are clear about what it is that we can do to support each other. And I would like to simply end off by saying, I know I'm in a group of the most amazing women. And I look forward to the day that I know we're already phenomenal, but I think we're not where we should be. So I look forward to the day that we own. And I know Dudu had wanted to talk about vehicles we can use to open the financial freedom, but I don't think Dudu, this is quite the time. I think we had other things to unpack. So I wish you well in taking this initiative forward. Make sure that your word means something for you and for others. Thank you.
There's some interesting stuff that can help stimulate the conversation and get people staying here a while. Don't you have like Amarula or something?
That's another
This
matter.
conversation will be very interesting.
We have all afternoon.
So I'm aware that we've kind of gone over a little bit, so I will do the thank yous for this morning. I wanted to start off and thank Ms. Virginia Palmer and the U.S. State Department, who are represented by her and Pam at the same time. She's left, but Pam is here. And I think we cannot express our gratitude, not just for the program, but for finding us. So not just in South Africa, but around the world. Because as Dudu said, you got a phone call from someone that said, don't you want to apply for this? And you're like, what is that? And for some of us, I thought it was a 2-week program. My daughter was 2, and when they said, you're kind of in the short list and you kind of made it, I'm like, do you realize it's a mother? I'm so glad, because I did to and fro, like, do I leave my child, do I go, don't I go? And I thought, you know what, she won't even remember that I left by the time I got back, and I'm so grateful that we did that. So thank you to the U.S. State Department for the program. We encourage you to do more and stay involved in this community of wonderful women, as you can see, because it started there. She's left the room now.
Say goodbye.
Oh, is it? Okay, so I'll thank her after.
Talk about another thing.
I wanted to thank the Fortuners from 2010. I don't think it was easy sometimes to come here. It's easy to come up with excuses, why not? We all have challenges, we have family, there's work, there's this. It's very easy to say, you know what, I'm not making it, I can't, type of thing. So thank you for coming here. Thank you for the relationships that we have. As Tutu said, we watch the news differently now, completely differently. When something's happening, you're picking up the phone, or you're writing an email, are you okay, etc., because you have an investment in that country. So thank you for coming, and because you came to this morning was possible. My iPad's gone. Technology is a problem. We need to go back pen and paper. Thank you to Simphiwe Sithole. She's not here. Is she here? She's also here.
She disappears.
Oh, is it? Just for this wonderful morning, because it's through the sponsorship that we're able to have this morning as well. It is wonderful to be in these wonderful facilities. We've been fed. So I think lunch is kind of taken care of for some people. Thank you to her also for allowing us, I think, to experience what the Sanlam brand is about, because it's much more than I think a lot of us understood it is. Or Dudu's here now, Dudu. A special thank you to you, my friend. I think for making this dream of us wanting to come together happen, because it could have just remained a dream and email communication. Jeff Bezos, who's the founder of Amazon, writes that he once said that a personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I think Dudu today you're a true testament of that, of not just people coming here, but what they say when you're in the room, which is just awesome. I think we've learned a lot, if nothing else, around generosity of spirit today. Thank you, Mabatu, for a wonderful session. As I said, I wish it could have gone on longer. I think we thought about things differently. I wish, one of my wishes, I think, coming out of this conversation is that some of the things that we talk about are things we probably have heard before. So my wish is that the next conversation we have is different, and that we have moved, and that we're not rehashing these things, because we talk, we've done the talking now, let's do. And what does that mean? So thank you very much. Thank you for my Umkayas that are here, so the South African ladies who came here, for your generosity, not just of time, but of spirit, of sharing your experiences, of helping us to co-host our international guests, of helping us to show off the South African quilt by being the unique pieces that show what we are as this radio nation. So thank you very much. I saw a quote once that said that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle.
Yep.
So my wish for you all is that you go forth and start by lighting your own candles, that they are very bright, so that you can light somebody else's. Thank you for reigniting mine and for giving me my fix for the morning. Thank you very much.